Hey, aloha, everybody. Welcome to today's podcast. My name is Paul Fletcher, and this is the Healing Source. And today is March 13th, 2024. And you might be listening to this live now, or you might be listening to this a year or two or more down the road. One of the beautiful things about the wisdom that is shared in this podcast is that it is timeless. It does not matter when you hear it, because by applying the wisdom, the techniques, and the practices that are shared through all of the Tao teachings that I have shared with you, you will be able to have the same or better results than all those before you who have utilized these techniques. So for those of you that are new to this podcast, I have been teaching the wisdom of Dr. and Master Sha for many, many years now. I've been training with this most extraordinary soul for about 15 years now. And in that length of time, my soul journey has progressed significantly. Any health issues that I had are completely gone. My abilities, especially in the realm of spiritual guidance abilities, are simply honed to a very high level, whereas when I started I had zero spiritual guidance abilities. And many of those that I am teaching in this specific series number 9 on this podcast, are what's called opening your spiritual channels. In the first two in this series, I set the foundation for the what, the why, and the how about spiritual channels. And then 4 weeks ago, I taught on the divine soul communication channel, the divine soul language channel, and that is learning to communicate and speak soul language. The second week, it was the divine direct soul communication channel, which is what it sounds like. The ability to receive messages from any soul, including those, of course, in the soul world, but a tree has a soul, everything has a soul, and there is a way that can be communicated with. The soul communication channel assists you in clearly discerning the message that those souls are translating. Last week, I discussed the third eye channel. In every case, each of these channels have a pathway. There is literally an end point and a beginning point through which the source frequency and vibration, the message from the source, comes through. And then there's an end point. And so this pathway, if you will, for each of these four unique channels assists in the purity and the clarity of that message. So if you missed any of the teachings on these first three channels, make sure first you subscribe, and secondly you go back and listen to those. There is not one single podcast that I have done that will not significantly enhance your spiritual education and your ability to move forward with greater grace and happiness on this soul journey. Now, this whole series number 9, on opening and developing your spiritual channels, is one of the keys to having a happier and healthier life. Most of us, we suffer. We suffer physically, we suffer with emotions, we suffer in relationships, we suffer in finances. It has been said that life is suffering. That is almost entirely, in my observation, in my opinion, in learning and training with many different master teachers, in my observation, life is only suffering if we do not practice skill sets that make it not suffering. And those skill sets are taught by Dr. and Master Sha. We can release a lot of our suffering through love, through forgiveness, and we can release a lot of suffering through developing our spiritual channels. The simple reason why is the soul of our source and our soul are intertwined. I am within Tao, Tao is within me. I am within my source creator is within me. And our suffering stems from being completely separate from that consciousness, being completely separate from that truth. When we operate outside of that truth, we operate in a space where we feel we have to do it by ourselves. We operate in a space where the only way I can acquire this house, this car, this new job, this whatever it is if I do A, B, C, D by myself outside of the source. And this, of course, is the root cause of suffering, living outside of the source. Since that is false, we live within the source and the source lives within us. Our job is to return to that truth. We do that by applying the wisdom teachings that Dr. and Master Sha has brought to us. Again, repeating why you need to go back and listen to the previous podcasts. And if you're in need of individual healing of any aspect of your life, then make sure you go to my website, wellspringoflight.com, and secure a private consultation with me. You can get one with or without healing, but that's the first step. And from there, we can get you on the right train to getting back on your wellness journey. Now, today we're focusing on the spiritual journey, and the reason this is so relevant to your overall happiness and your overall stopping of suffering is because your source creator loves you unconditionally. All of your Shifus and heaven's teams, your guides, angels, and saints, your own soul loves you unconditionally. They are crying when you suffer because they are always communicating with you. You ever heard of intuition? That's communication from your soul or one of your heaven's team members. You ever have conversations with your source and you get an answer and it works out? Guess what? That does not have to be a one-off thing or a once-in-a-while thing. The soul world is constantly 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, in constant communication with you. They utilize these 4 major channels. So when you practice by opening and developing your soul language, go back to 4 weeks ago, and by practicing that, you further develop and open your heart chakra, your ability to hear, because your heart chakra, as mentioned before, is your message center. It's where you receive your messages. And the more pure your message center, the more accurate the messages, and the easier it is to receive them in these 4 channels. So always, always, always continue the practices as taught for your heart chakra and message center. And if you don't know what those are, contact me and I can help you. The third eye channel is another way to receive messages in the form of images. And all of these messages, whether it's through a soul message, an intuitional message, a song, a book that falls off the shelf and opens on the floor, whether you receive it by actually doing soul language and translation, whether you receive it in your direct knowing channel, which is our subject today. All of these messages have but one singular purpose, which is to assist you to stop suffering. And once you realize that the soul world has got your back, they only want the highest and best for you, and that's all they've ever wanted, then you, I would hope, would purposefully do practices to clear whatever might be in the way of you receiving those pure messages so that you can be free of the trouble that can be predominant in some of your lives. Today, we're going to be focusing on the Divine Direct Knowing channel. This is the 4th of these 4 channels. My teacher, Master Sha, has taught this is the most important of the 4 channels. He stated clearly, as I have stated, that to develop these 4 channels, the number one thing to do is to open your soul language and chant it all the time. That assists in developing all 4 channels. But he has also equally stated that the number 1 channel is the Divine Direct Knowing channel. And very simply, because you don't need to jump through any other hoops if you just know the answer. Now, the beautiful thing about this channel is when you receive a Divine Direct Knowing, you just know, right? You just know. There's not even an inkling, 0.0000% chance in that moment when you receive that message, you know. It is not even questions. It's like, yep, that is the answer. Yep, that is the direction to go. This is the nature of the Divine Direct Knowing. It comes with a gauntlet approval, like, this is what is happening right now. This is the truth. So the Divine Direct Knowing channel is the most important channel to develop, and it is one where we want to be able to Hang on, I got to turn off a widget that's trying to show up on my screen, and I don't want it to. The Divine Direct Knowing channel, its purpose is to assist us to be free of all of our problems. Imagine that you had a potential difficult meeting that you're going to have at work, and you were not looking forward to it. But you were a spiritual aspirant, someone who trained every day to keep your heart pure, to do forgiveness practice, to release blockages, to let things go, to take nothing personally. You are a person on the path to have a pure heart. By being on that path, you are loudly opening up your channels, and you can hear the message. And it might say, just receive whatever is said, take nothing personally, and when you are asked to speak, give credit to everybody else. That was the message. That's all you hear. Now, that instantly takes away any preconceptions that you might have to do A, B, C, present this, present that. All of those previous fears that you might have could go away because you received a divine knowing about how to react and respond. So you go to the work, to that meeting that day, you do exactly as the message said, and afterwards everyone says, wow, that was amazing, you did such a great job, we're so grateful for your input, blah, blah, blah. You're the hero of the meeting. Why? Because you followed the guidance. The source, your soul, your heavens teams are always trying to assist you. So let's take a look at some of the benefits of this channel, shall we? Let me open up the PowerPoint that I have related to this. I've taught this course many times. So what is a Divine Direct Knowing channel? It is a channel that is developed over time to be the conduit through which heaven communicates directly. I want to pause there for a moment. What does that mean, directly versus indirect? Okay, directly is exactly what it sounds like. You get a clear message, done. Indirect messages, like a third eye message. You have to discern, what does that message mean? I taught you this last week. When you are doing soul language, you have to translate that soul language. And if your channels are pure, you may do a good job translating it and figuring out what is trying to be taught you at this time. Okay? Intuition. One of the things that has been stated out there in a variety of teachings, and I personally believe it's true, is that the messages that we hear can be skewed, and darkness can give us messages, and if we are not trained properly, we can assume those messages are true messages. What does that mean, not be trained properly? One of the examples of a message that may not be true is one where you start receiving puffy messages. You're so amazing. You really are the best, right? You can do this because you're the best at it. There is nobody better than you. Now, your soul or someone from heaven's realm might not give such a puffy message. They might say something more like, we trust that you can do well. It's very important that you consistently do the practices, and with practice your heart will open more. That is more of a message that puts responsibility on you, gives you positive message, but doesn't puff you up and say you're awesome, you're great, etc., etc. And this is the nature of being able to discern a clear message versus an unclear message. Whereas with direct knowing, like I said, it comes in with a stamp of validation. This is a 1,000,000% accurate message. You don't even question it. So there is a difference when it comes to going back here to the previous statement, which is this is a channel that is developed over time to be the conduit through which heaven communicates directly. It is a direct message. The other channels actually do receive a direct message, but it doesn't come with that stamp of authenticity, that stamp of 100% knowingness. Okay? Very different in the way the message is received within your vessel. Now, why is the Divine Direct Knowing channel the most important of the 4 major communication channels? Well, heaven is able to communicate free of any mind-based encumbrances. There is no questioning. There is no, I wonder what that image means. There is no, I'm not sure I can translate my soul language or the soul communication well. I've only been doing it a year or 2 or 3, or haven't done it at all. There's none of the mind-based stuff involved. When you get a direct message, it comes with that stamp of knowingness, and it is free of mind encumbrances. There is no analysis. There is no questioning. There is simply a clear knowing. The information that comes through a divine direct knowing carries pure healing frequencies. Remember, it's a pure message. It's an unencumbered message. It came from a very high level being. Your soul is a high level being. It's higher level than you are in this third dimensional field. So all of these messages, when they come in pure, they are literally healing messages. The information is accurate. It is not even questioned. Now, all of us here have had a form of a direct knowing. If you're a parent, okay, you're sitting there, you're in the house, you're doing, all of a sudden you know something's not right with your kid. You go outside and sure enough, boom, okay? And so this is one example. There are many others. You could be driving your car and all of a sudden you know that you are not supposed to go that way. You don't know where you're going to go, but that's not the direction you're supposed to go. That's a direct knowing. So there are many ways in this life. You can probably spot a few of those divine knowings. The key is, how do we expand our channel so that this is commonplace, that we have direct knowing, we live life in direct knowing. That would be the optimal scenario, right? Let's see if we can figure that out. So when you develop this channel, you literally can save people's lives. You can be in a burning building and you will hear, do not go that direction. It might be that the stairs are supposed to be the safest, right? But you can hear, no, don't go down the stairs. And you're like, all right, you might hear that never go down the elevator. But if you hear clearly, do not go down the stairs. You might hear go down the elevator until the 10th floor and then go down the stairs. Great. So do what that divine knowing, and you won't question it because it will be loud and clear. You could save people's lives. It might be that there is a catastrophe and you need food and water, and you're in a meditation and you hear, go over the hill and through the woods and follow the creek, and maybe you see in your third eye an image of a church, and so you just know that that's where to go. You hear the words, you see an image, and you go. And everybody now has food and water. So you can save people's lives with this channel. The information can validate existing information from the other channels. Remember, you have your third eye images. You have intuition, which is your soul talking to you. You have soul language, where you're talking to the source. You're talking to other souls, your heavens team, guides, angels, and saints. And you're asking them, can you please guide me? Can you please help me? And you receive a message. You can receive a direct message and it can validate something that you've heard before. So the divine knowing is very important for validation as well. And of course, as stated, this information can save your life. So where then is this channel located? Let's take a look here, shall we? The divine direct knowing channel is located by starting at the Ming Men acupuncture point. Now, if you've just shown up today, then you might not know where this point is. If you've attended the last couple of classes in my podcast, I have shown you. For those of you that are new, it is, you touch your belly button and you draw an invisible line straight back, and at that dip in your back is your Ming Men acupuncture point. 3 of the 4 major channels, all the channels except the third eye, this is the starting point of those channels. Think about this. Heaven, the source, your soul, all of those in the soul world communicate through your 4 major channels. 3 of them start right there at the Ming Men point. Okay? And so, actually all 4 of them do. My mistake, all 4 of them do. What I want to say with 3 of them is 3 of them go through the heart chakra. The third eye does not go through the heart chakra. All the others do. So it goes to show you how pertinent it is to have an open heart center, open heart chakra, to be able to receive your messages. The third eye chakra starts at the Ming Men point, as all of them do, goes up the back and ends through the fifth chakra and ends at the third eye. Today, though, this channel starts at the Ming Men point. It goes directly to the Kun Gong. Several of the channels go to and through the Kun Gong. I'll show you that in a moment. And then it stops at the message center. It stops at the heart chakra. So here's your front view and your side view. You see it starts at the Ming Men point, goes to the Kun Gong, which is known as the life essence lamp. Okay, Kun Gong basically is superimposed over your third chakra. It's an energy center, not a chakra, and it's just a fraction tips up above it, and it's your life oil lamp. Not going into big teachings today, but generally speaking, you come into life, it's 100% full. If you lived 100 years, at age 50, it'd be about 50% full, and so forth. This life oil lamp is the life essence. So you have this pure message comes through your Ming Men point, which is known as the Tao point, and the wisdom and teachings that Master Sha has brought to us. The Tao point is what? The point of emptiness, the point of nothingness, the point where we are in between incarnations, right? It's the emptiness, the oneness with Source. So you get this message comes through our Tao point, our emptiness point, goes through the life essence lamp, the oil lamp, and ends at your message center. Imagine the purity of this message, right? Very, very powerful. So then, how do you work with this message? How do you work with this information? How do you develop your direct knowing channel? I'm glad you asked. We have a solution. So very simply, as with all the channels, you want to further develop each of the way stations within that channel. In this case, the way stations are the Ming Men acupuncture point, the Kun Gong, and the heart chakra. So you'd want to empower those with practices for those. So let me share with you a practice. There is a mantra and a chant for the Ming Men. Sounds like this. Ming Men Shen Qi Jing Her Yi. Forms my Ming Men Jin Dan. Ming Men Shen Qi Jing He Yi. So Ming Men is the name of the point, Tao point. Shen Qi Jing, for those of you that have been sleeping in their log or are not familiar with the teachings of Master Sha, stands for your entire soul, heart, mind, energy, and matter. The last two Mandarin Chinese words are He Yi, which stand for become one. Okay? So when you chant the statement, Ming Men Shen Qi Jing He Yi, what you are saying is, my Tao point and my entire soul, heart, mind, and body become one. That's what that first line means. And you're saying, form my Jindan, which is the light ball, within the acupuncture point. You're developing your Tao point. Okay? The second mantra is basically the same, except you're working for your Kun Gong, your life essence lamp. Kun Gong Shen Qi Jing He Yi. So now you're gathering all your soul, heart, mind, energy, and matter as one in your life essence oil lamp. And then you fill it with the light. And then for the heart chakra, there are many different practices for the heart chakra. This is one that's been around for well over 10 years, where you chant Aya, 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 and you can add a different intonation on the end, which basically brings light as well to this area. Okay? So, let us place one palm on the Ming Men acupuncture point, which is the center of your palm on the dip in your back. Place one palm over the center of your belly button. Close your eyes. See that dip in your back. Bring light into that area. Imagine light from 360 degrees gathering in your Ming Men acupuncture point. Close your eyes. Repeat after me. Ming Men Shen Qi Jing He Yi. Forms my Ming Men Jin Dan. Ming Men Shen Qi Jing He Yi. Forms my Ming Men Jin Dan. Ming Men Shen Qi Jing He Yi. Forms my Ming Men Jin Dan. Ming Men Shen Qi Jing He Yi. forms my Ming Men Jin Dan. Good. Clearly, you would do this 5 minutes each area to further develop your direct knowing channel. Obviously, you do more, 10 minutes or 15 minutes each area, you will significantly further develop your direct knowing channel. Let's now focus on the very center, keep your hands in the same place, very center of your body, directly behind your belly button. This is where the third chakra is, but this is also where the kun gong is. So we're going to chant kun gong, shen qi jing he yi, fills my kun gong, jin dan. And you may build up saliva. The wisdom is that saliva is formed from heaven's nectar and earth's nectar. And these invisible frequencies and light that you might not be able to see through your existing senses are quite present. So if you do build up saliva, consciously swallow it down into the life oil lamp. Let us begin. Close your eyes, see inside. Kun gong shen qi jing he yi, fills my kun gong jin dan. Kun gong shen qi jing he yi, fills my kun gong jin dan. Kun gong shen qi jing he yi, fills my kun gong jin dan. Kun gong shen qi jing he yi, fills my kun gong jin dan. Again, 5-10 minutes minimum. Now place one hand over your heart chakra, one hand over your lower abdomen. I rest my knuckle in my belly button and then drop my palm naturally, one palm over my heart chakra, and we will chant Aya Yo Dao, seeing light coming into your heart center from 360 degrees. Let us begin. Aya Yo Dao, Aya Yo Dao, Aya Yo Dao, Aya Yo Dao, Aya Yo Dao. One more time. Aya Yo Dao, Aya Yo Dao, Aya Yo Dao, Aya Yo Dao, Aya Yo Dao. Good. Now, let us put this all together, right? Ming Men Kun Gong Aya Yo Dao. Ming Men Kun Gong Aya Yo Dao. So when we chant this, what are we doing? You close your eyes, you see light going into your Ming Men, straight to that third chakra, and then up to your heart chakra. Remember the image right here, from the Ming Men into the Kun Gong, up to the heart chakra. You see that channel filled with light. Okay? You don't have to worry about memorizing it. What do you remember? You remember Ming Men, you remember Kun Gong, and Aya Yo Dao. Let us begin. Ming Men Kun Gong Aya Yo Dao. Now put one palm over your Ming Men and one palm over your heart chakra. Ming Men Kun Gong Aya Yo Dao. 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 Now, you can play with the mantra however you want. It's really about empowering each of these energy centers and the entire channel. Okay? Now, I will share with you that these particular practices were flowed practices. Many years I have taught Opening Your Spiritual Channels course, and when I got to the Direct Knowing channel, I reviewed all of the wisdom and teachings that Master Sha taught us, but there was no specific practice for the Direct Knowing channel. So I asked Kevin, well, if we chanted for each of these energy areas, would that be an acceptable practice? And I received a yes. And when I have taught this, it has helped people. So this is not a practice that Master Sha has taught. This is a practice that is a common sense practice, which basically opens and develops each of these various energy centers along that channel. That same wisdom would apply for any of the channels. You can chant for any of the stopping points along that channel, and it will further clear that pathway. Very similar if you know about the Chi channel, chakras 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then the channel down the back. Clearly, if you chant Hey Hong Hong Ashi Wong Yo, then it will clear the entire Chi channel, even though you're working on each chakra separately. Same wisdom, just applied specifically to the spiritual channels. Okay? So I am confident that this course, this 6-piece podcast series on developing your spiritual channels, has been of great value to you. Please share this with others. There are so few people that are taking advantage of this wisdom. It's very sad. And I need you, Source needs you to share this with others. So please do so. Like, share, comment, share it on Facebook. That one additional person that wakes up today could be one more person that brings more light to humanity. Okay? So I thank you from my heart for joining me. Next week we will start a new series, and I look forward to seeing you there. Until then, have an awesome day, everybody. Bye-bye.